My child, I want you to hear me today. Not because every problem around you has already been solved, and not because your situation has suddenly changed, or the burden on your shoulders has disappeared. I am speaking because I care for things that seem impossible, and I want that truth to settle deeper than every fear that has been troubling you. This moment is not random. It has come to you at the precise time where heart needed a reason to pause and hear these words. You can breathe again. You can release what you have been gripping so tightly. You can rest. I am good right now, right here, even in this season where the answers you long for seem delayed. Even when waiting feels heavier than your heart can comfortably carry, and even when you wear a smile while something inside remains unsettled, my goodness is still present there. Today I am not asking you for promises beyond your strength, words that do not yet feel real, or courage you do not currently possess. I am simply asking you to listen. Listen with a heart that is open. Listen without immediately defending yourself or rushing ahead to the next concern. As you listen, something is already changing within you. The parts of you that have been restless are beginning to settle. What has felt tangled is slowly finding order, and what was close to giving up is quietly receiving strength. I know you have been carrying more than you should. I know your mind has not known the rest it desperately needs, and I know you have tried to solve situations that were never fully within your reach. I know how often your thoughts have run ahead into futures that have not even arrived. And without realizing it, all of that has been steadily taking your peace away. That is why I am speaking to you now. I am not coming with criticism, a list of mistakes, or expectations that would make your load even heavier. I come with both gentleness and authority. Hold on to your peace not because your challenges are insignificant, and not because what you are facing lacks importance. Hold on to it because I am greater than anything standing before you. I am faithful. I remain in control at all times. Ahead of you are choices that stir fear, roads whose direction remains uncertain, and answers you have waited a long time to receive. There have been seasons of silence that have made you wonder whether I am still working. Yet in the middle of all of it, remember this truth. I am already at work in places your eyes cannot yet see. I see your exhaustion. I see the nights when sleep feels distant, and the thoughts arrive as the world grows quiet around you. I see the questions you keep hidden inside, the effort that goes unnoticed by others, and the quiet faith that continues to sustain you even when you do not fully understand the journey you are on. I do not condemn you for any of it, and I do not ask more of you than you are able to give today. Instead, I come near and invite you to find rest in me. Some burdens were never meant to be carried by you alone. Some worries were never truly yours, even though you have carried them as if they were. There are battles you have taken ownership of for far too long, weights you picked up because no one else seemed willing to carry them, and emotional responsibilities you absorbed without ever being asked. I see every bit of it. I see how much you have endured, how much you have carried, and the hidden price you have paid that no one else recognized. I am fully aware of what you are going through, yet I will not allow these struggles to write the final chapter of your story. I remain with you when you feel weak. I remain faithful when your strength begins to fade. I remain good even when the process you are walking through makes little sense to you. Hold this truth deep within your heart today. Your peace is not dependent on everything being resolved right now. Your peace depends on where you place what you cannot fix. When you trust me, peace begins to grow. It is not created by favorable circumstances. It comes from knowing that I am with you. This is your invitation to stop, take a breath, and release the pressure of trying to control every outcome. When you let go, I take hold, and when I take hold, what once seemed impossible begins moving into place, often before you even realize it. Keep listening. Do not hurry. Do not allow distractions to pull you away. Even when your mind repeatedly tries to return to worry, I remain in charge of what appears impossible. I am still good right now, even in this place where you feel you have done everything within your ability, and still cannot see the results. There are times when the heart becomes more exhausted than the body, and I know that is where you are today. Perhaps you have been strong for longer than you ever thought you could be. Perhaps you have continued meeting your responsibilities while something inside quietly drained away, leaving you unable to fully explain what was happening within you. Even if no one else sees it, I do. I see every unseen effort, every night you chose faith despite the silence, and every quiet act of trust that has continued sustaining your life. That is why I speak to you gently today. My purpose is not to place more weight on you, but to lift some of it away. I want you to hear and understand this clearly. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is choosing trust in the middle of them. It is not ignoring reality. It is recognizing a greater reality, my faithfulness. When you hold on to your peace, you are not pretending everything is fine. You are acknowledging who holds every detail of what is happening. There are situations that will never be solved simply by thinking harder. There are burdens that do not become lighter by replaying every possible negative outcome. There are impossible circumstances that begin to shift only when you stop fighting them alone and allow me to move. I am not asking you to carry things that were never yours to carry. I am asking you to trust that I know exactly how, when, and where to step in. Perhaps today you have reached a place where you honestly do not know what else to do. You have prayed. You have waited, you have trusted, and yet from where you stand it may seem as though nothing has changed. But I want you to hear this clearly. The absence of immediate results does not mean that nothing is taking place. Much of what I do begins where human eyes cannot see, in the hidden places, deep within, before anything becomes visible on the outside. While you feel as though everything has stopped moving, I am already arranging details beyond your awareness and setting things into place for your good. I am closing roads that would have brought harm into your life. I am preparing new paths that have not yet come into view. I do not work by guesswork, I am never late, and I do not mishandle your life. Every season of waiting carries purpose, and every period of silence serves a reason. I know about the fears you keep hidden, the worries you carry quietly so those you love will not be burdened by them, and the thoughts that surface when everything around you grows still. Even then, I do not move away from you. I come closer. When your heart becomes unsettled, my peace becomes even more essential for you. That is why today I invite you to live one day at a time. Do not carry tomorrow's weight into today, and do not exhaust yourself over things that have not yet happened. Rest in the assurance that I am already present in your future, attending to every detail ahead of you. When you place your trust in me, your soul can find rest, even before every answer arrives. Some battles are not won through greater effort, but through deeper trust. Some burdens are not relieved by tighter control, but by complete surrender. There are also situations that seem impossible until you choose to protect your peace and allow me to take charge. I see what has been happening inside your mind. It has felt like a battlefield, filled with unwanted thoughts, repeated scenarios, and fears that rush ahead into the future and paint dark pictures before anything has even occurred. I see the comparisons that leave you feeling behind, and the doubts that appear just when you thought calm had finally settled in. Today I want you to understand that every thought that enters your mind does not deserve a permanent place there. Some ideas do not need your attention, and some fears do not deserve your agreement. Peace also means learning to say, "This thought does not rule me." It means choosing trust when your mind wants control, and returning to me whenever inner noise tries to steal the calm I have already given you. I am not preparing you simply to make it through life. I am preparing you to truly live. I want you to walk with stability, free from the constant undercurrent of fear that has worn you down for so long. I want you to hear me forward without the relentless pressure that has stolen so many nights of rest. What lies ahead requires a heart that is steady, not frantic, not overwhelmed, but firmly grounded. Perhaps you have already begun to notice a change within yourself. Even though your circumstances remain unresolved, you no longer react the way you once did. Fear does not seize you as quickly as before. Difficult news does not immediately steal your peace the way it once could. And now, even while you continue waiting, there is a quiet calm beginning to walk beside you. You may not always be able to explain it, but you know it is there. That calm is not indifference. It is me shaping your inner life. Before I do something significant, I teach you how to remain at peace. This is not so you settle for less than what is meant for you. It is so you will be strong enough when change finally arrives. There are blessings that become heavy burdens when they reach a heart filled with anxiety. That is why I am teaching you calm before revealing more of what I can do. I know there have been seasons when everything felt urgent, times when you believed that if you did not act immediately, everything would fall apart. There were moments when pressure pushed you toward decisions made from sheer exhaustion. But today I am teaching you a different way. Not everything valuable happens quickly. Some of the most important things mature quietly in hidden places. Certain answers gain strength through time, and some of the deepest changes are built gradually, without attention or announcement. Keeping your peace does not mean becoming inactive because of fear. It means refusing to move from a place of anxiety. I want you to hear me today, but because uplift entered it. Mestro, from clarity rather than weariness. When you make choices while exhausted, you often reach for the first thing that looks like an escape. But when you choose from a place of peace, you recognize what is truly right. You choose what has genuine future, what is deeply rooted, and what will endure. Perhaps you have wondered why this season has lasted so long. Perhaps you have questioned why your journey seems different from the journeys of others. You may have watched people receive answers while you continued waiting, and wondered why the same trust produced different timing in your life. Today I answer those questions with love rather than cold explanations. What lies ahead requires a mature faith, a settled peace, and a heart that knows how to rest even when understanding has not yet arrived. I do not delay because I am careless. I do not postpone things without purpose. I know exactly when to step in. I know when a door should open and when it should remain closed a little longer. What appears to be delay is not always loss. Many times it is protection. Many times it is my careful hand working in ways you cannot yet recognize. There are things you do not appreciate today that you will one day understand with gratitude. There were doors that remained closed, people who moved on, and paths that seemed right but suddenly ended without explanation. None of those things happened by mistake. Each one played a part in leading you toward a stronger place than you could have reached on your own. Holding your peace means being able to say, I do not understand everything, but I trust the one who does. I know there are days when exhaustion returns unexpectedly. There are moments when questions rise again even after you believed you had finally released them. There are times when your faith feels fragile and you cannot fully explain why. Even then, I do not move away from you. My faithfulness does not depend on how you feel today. My love for you does not rise or fall based on how much strength you have on any given day. Maybe you have reached the edge of what you can carry. Maybe the words have run out, and perhaps you no longer know exactly what to ask of me. Hear this clearly. The place where your strength ends is often where my work begins. When you can no longer carry it, I can. When you loosen your grip on control, I take hold of what you release. I have never required you to be strong every moment of your life. I do not ask for perfection from you. What I desire is honesty. I want you to recognize your need to rest in me, because it is within that sincere and quiet surrender that impossible things begin to move. Do not be harsh with yourself, because you feel afraid. Do not criticize yourself for being tired, and do not condemn yourself because some questions remain unanswered. I am not accusing you of anything. I understand where you are, and I understand the process you are walking through. Today I want to remind you that you are not making this journey by yourself. Every step you take, even the uncertain ones, I take with you. Your time has not been wasted. Every day, including the most difficult ones, is accomplishing something meaningful within you. This season is teaching you how to trust without controlling every outcome, how to believe without seeing every answer, and how to rest without fully understanding. That quiet faith, the kind that no one else notices but that keeps holding everything together, is precious to me. If you believe, declare your amen. You do not need to see the entire road ahead before taking the next step. You only need to know who is walking beside you. Your waiting is not empty or meaningless. With every passing day, things are being aligned in ways you cannot yet see. Every sincere prayer carries significance, even when the results are not immediately visible. Every difficult night mattered, even if you cannot yet explain why. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been overlooked. Nothing has happened without purpose. I have seen every tear you have shed. I have seen every moment you chose to keep believing. Every time you decided to trust, despite having no visible evidence, I saw it. Those moments carry a significance that no current circumstance can erase. You are no longer carrying this burden by yourself. I am still good right now, in this very moment, even while some things remain unresolved. My goodness is not measured by visible outcomes. It flows from who I am, and I do not change. The peace beginning to settle within you is not a temporary feeling that disappears overnight. It is a deep certainty that grows in your heart whenever you choose to trust me. That peace is born from understanding that I never asked you to carry what was impossible. I asked you to place into my hands the things you could not solve yourself. And that is exactly what you are doing now. Perhaps when you first arrived at this moment, your heart was unsettled, your thoughts were racing, and your questions remained unanswered. Perhaps you were weary from thinking, striving, and waiting while nothing seemed to change. Yet something is different now. Not because everything shifted instantly, but because you are no longer standing in it by yourself. I have placed myself before you. I have reminded you that I carry the battles that are beyond your strength. I do not minimize your pain. I do not dismiss your worries. I do not overlook your tears of the nights when sleep would not come. At the same time, I will not allow those struggles to define the final outcome of your life. My love is greater than your fear. My faithfulness is stronger than your anxiety. My ability is greater than any situation that seems impossible to you today. Hold tightly to this truth. Peace does not come when everything is finally resolved. Peace comes when you fully place your trust in me. That trust is built gradually, one step at a time and one day at a time. It grows during seasons you do not understand, and during periods when silence seems to be the only answer you receive. I never promised a life free from difficulty. But I did promise that my presence would remain with you. And my presence is enough, more than enough. There will still be days when restlessness tries to return. There will be moments when fear knocks at the door again, and nights when old questions resurface without warning. When that happens, return to this moment. Remember that I spoke to you today. Remember that I asked you to protect your peace. Remember that I care for impossible things. Then allow yourself to rest again. I never grow weary of caring for you. I am never distracted. I never forget you. I never abandon you, even in moments when you feel you cannot take another step forward. I continue working even when you have no strength left to try again. That is grace. That is love. That is faithfulness that is not dependent on your performance or your failures. It does not depend on perfect prayers. It does not depend on perfect faith. It does not depend on your ability to understand everything I am doing. It depends on who I am, and I am faithful always. I remain faithful in seasons when you feel inadequate and on days when all you can do is breathe and keep moving forward. I am still there. Today you can continue without rushing. You can move forward without pressure and without the anguish that has followed you for so long, not because every answer has arrived, not because every answer has arrived, not because everything is completely clear, not because the road ahead is fully illuminated, but because I am already going before you. You can walk confidently knowing that every step is being guided. You can lay down the burden that has stolen your rest because it now rests in hands stronger than yours. Hands that never grow tired. Hands that never fail. Hands that already know the ending of your story and are carefully tending to every detail, with love, wisdom, and care. Keep your peace. I care for what seems impossible. Your life is secure in my hands. There is something more I want you to understand. The peace I am inviting you into is not a place you reach once and remain unchanged. It is alive. It grows, deepens, and becomes stronger the longer you walk with me. What I want now is to bring you deeper, not into more information, but into a deeper experience of who I am. I want to lead you into parts of my character that worry has kept you too busy to discover. I want to bring you into quieter places of trust that many people never experience, because they remain at the doorway, continually asking and searching without realizing the door has already been opened. Come closer. Most people are familiar with a certain kind of faith. It is the faith that brings requests, presents needs, and lays before me every concern, desire, and timeline. I do not dismiss that faith. It is genuine, it matters, and I hear every word. But there is also a deeper and quieter faith. It does not always need words. It simply remains with me, resting in the confidence that I already know, that I am already working, and that I am already present in every detail. This is the kind of faith I am developing within you. I am not replacing your prayers or your requests. I am giving them deeper roots, Because when asking has no roots, it can become anxiety wrapped in spiritual language. It can begin to look like trust, while lacking the peace that true trust brings. I want something more genuine for you than a faith that simply repeats requests. I want you to arrive at a place where even your silence with me is filled with meaning, filled with the awareness that you are completely known, the certainty that you are deeply loved, and the confidence that I have not missed a single detail of what you carry each day. You are fully known by me, and what I know about you has never led me to reject you. Take a moment to truly consider that. For many people, the thought of being completely known feels uncomfortable, because they assume that if someone saw every fear, every failure, every doubt, and every contradiction, they would eventually pull away. They imagine that full knowledge would lead to disappointment, exhaustion, or rejection. That may often be true in human relationships, but I am not limited in the way people are. I see the parts of you that bring you the most shame, and I am not shaken by them. I see the distance between the person you present to the world and the person you sometimes feel you are inside, and none of it catches me off guard. I am not disappointed, discouraged, or pushed away by those realities. I've always known every part of you, and every part of you is the one I chose, the one I love, and the one I continue to work with. I am not working around your complexity. I am working through it. Often the places where you feel the most uncertain become the very places where my strength has the greatest room to move. That is why I want you to stop approaching me as though you need a defense prepared, as though you must explain yourself before I will understand. I want to free you from that burden. You do not need to come to me polished or perfectly composed. You do not need to arrive after you have finally figured everything out. You can come exactly as you are, tired, confused, uncertain, and wrestling with what you believe. And I will meet you there completely and without hesitation. That is the nature of my love. It does not require you to make yourself presentable before you come near. It simply asks that you come. Throughout this long season, I have been working the soil of your heart. What felt like painful disruption was never meant to expose you for harm. It was preparing the ground for a life capable of carrying greater weight. You felt the turning of that soil and assumed something was ending. In reality, something was beginning. The strength of your character is being built even now. These foundations are formed through quiet obedience and shaped to carry my promises without collapsing under pressure. Beneath what anyone can see, the roots of your trust are reaching deeper into my strength. Those roots will hold you steady when change arrives and strong winds begin to blow. Today, if you feel led to support this work, you can do so through the QR code or support link provided. Let your gift become a tangible expression of your faith and partnership in what is being built. As you give, remember that every act of trust is part of something greater than what you can currently see. A season is coming when you will stand in a place of peace and recognize that none of your waiting was wasted. The fruit produced through this process will endure, even through difficult conditions. What grows from this season will bless not only your own life, but also those who pass through it. The outcome will reach far beyond what your current expectations can imagine. For now, rest in this place of quiet with me. Here, away from the noise and pressure of the world, we meet. I am the one guarding your growth, and I am the one bringing you toward maturity. The disappointments you have experienced, the closed doors, the unanswered seasons, and the plans that fell apart despite your effort deserve a different perspective today. I am not asking you to deny the pain they caused. They hurt, and I know they did. But I want you to consider that within those disappointments, I may have been accomplishing something that could not have happened any other way. Some things can only be built in the space that loss creates. Think about what you understand now that you could not have understood before the struggle began. Think about the strength that emerged during your most fearful seasons. Think about the compassion that developed because you know what it feels like to wait without answers. Think about the discernment you gained, the ability to recognize what is genuine and what only appeared important. None of those qualities were formed during the easy seasons. They were forged in the seasons that felt impossible, and I was present in every one of them. I was not standing at a distance watching to see how you would perform. I was actively present, working in ways you could not yet recognize. There are things I protected you from that you may never fully understand. They were paths you nearly followed that would have cost far more than the waiting ever did. There were people you almost chose who would have weakened what I was building within you. There were opportunities that appeared promising, but would have confined you rather than led you into freedom. My protection is not always obvious. Sometimes it appears as stillness. Sometimes it looks like nothing is happening at all. I know how difficult that can be, because the human heart often interprets silence as absence, and absence as abandonment. Yet I need you to understand that some of my most active work happens in the quietest seasons. The deepest work is often done in hidden places, in darkness, and in stretches of time when nothing seems to move. Trust me in those moments just as you trust me when everything feels clear. I want to speak now about your identity, about who you are when no one is measuring your progress, when no visible result is affirming your value, and when all external signs seem absent. I have noticed something. Much of your peace has become connected to outcomes. When progress is visible and effort produces results, rest feels easier. You feel more secure in my love and more confident in your direction. But when progress slows, when results pause, and when silence lingers, questions begin to surface. You quietly wonder whether you are still on the right path. You wonder whether I am still pleased with you. You wonder whether you are still enough. I want to speak to that part of you with both tenderness and clarity. Your value is not something that fluctuates. It does not increase when you are productive, or decrease when life feels difficult. It does not depend on your accomplishments, your success, or how quickly circumstances change around you. Your worth is not something you earn during seasons when everything is going well, nor is it something you lose during seasons when you are simply doing your best to make it through. Your value before me is settled. It was never established by your effort, your performance, or your ability to prove yourself. I determined it long before you took your first breath, before you made a single choice, before any success or failure became part of your story. You are not standing before me trying to earn a verdict. I know this may sound familiar, but I want it to reach you in a deeper way today. I do not want this to remain a truth you acknowledge and then set aside. I want it to touch the place within you that still feels responsible for earning its place. The part that wakes up measuring whether today will justify your existence. The part that ties inner peace to personal performance and believes rest must be earned. That is not how I see you. I see you the way a loving parent watches a child learning to walk. When that child stumbles, the response is not impatience. When the steps are uncertain, the response is not disappointment. It is love that already knows who that child is becoming. The falls are part of the process, and so is the unsteady movement forward. None of those moments change what I have already spoken over your life. You belong to me. That truth is settled. From that place of security, your peace is meant to grow, not from striving, proving, or finally getting everything right. Peace is not a reward for good performance. It is the natural atmosphere of a life that knows it is safely held. Now I want to speak about the people around you. Some of the pressure stealing your peace has not come from your own struggles. It has come from carrying the pain, expectations, and opinions of others. It has come from feeling the weight of what people think you should be doing and how quickly they believe you should be doing it. You are someone who notices deeply and feels deeply. That sensitivity is not an accident. It is a gift I intentionally placed within you. Yet because of that gift, you have often absorbed more than you were meant to carry. You have taken on emotional environments that were never yours to manage. You have carried burdens that did not belong to you. There are people in your life who genuinely love you, yet do not always know how to love you well. Some carry fears they have never resolved, and those fears become pressure placed on your shoulders. Others project their own anxiety onto your circumstances and call it concern. Some have good intentions, yet leave you feeling heavier after every conversation rather than lighter. Without fully realizing it, you have been managing not only your own emotions, but theirs as well. You have been trying to meet expectations, avoid disappointment, and keep everyone around you comfortable. I am asking you to set that burden down, not in anger, not by withdrawing from others, but with a gentle understanding that you cannot continue pouring from an empty place. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is wise stewardship. I gave you the ability to care deeply, and I gave you the capacity to feel what others feel. Like every gift, it requires healthy boundaries in order to remain a blessing rather than becoming a source of pain. You are allowed to say, "I cannot carry that right now." You are allowed to step away from conversations that consistently drain what little strength you have left. You are also allowed, on certain days, to protect the quiet work I am doing within you, instead of surrendering it to everyone else's urgency. This is not about closing your heart. It is about caring for it faithfully. A heart that exhausts itself trying to sustain everyone else eventually loses the ability to give from a healthy place. That is not what I have called you to. I have called you to love from fullness rather than depletion. I have called you to live from a place that is continually renewed through time with me, through genuine rest, and through an honest acceptance of your own limits. That is not weakness, it is wisdom, and that wisdom will ultimately allow you to serve and care for others more effectively than you ever could, while constantly running on empty. There is another thing I want to address as well: comparison. It rarely announces itself, yet it quietly steals more peace than almost anything else. It begins with a simple glance towards someone else's life, their progress, their answered prayers, or the way their journey appears smoother than your own. That glance often leaves behind a subtle doubt about your story. Sometimes you do not even choose it intentionally. You simply notice someone else's progress, and before you are aware of it, something inside you feels discouraged. I want you to hear me today, my child, to hear me today. I want you to hear me today, nodding purpose of Pat. What someone else is receiving right now is not proof that something is being withheld from you. Their open door does not explain your closed one. Their season of answers is not a statement about your season of waiting. Their pace has been designed for their story, just as your pace has been designed for yours. When you compare your inner world to someone else's outward appearance, you are measuring things that cannot truly be compared. You are placing your private doubts, unseen effort, hidden struggles, and personal burdens beside the visible highlights of another person's journey. That comparison is neither fair nor accurate, and it cannot lead you anywhere helpful. Return your attention to your own story. Your life is not behind schedule. It is not lesser. It is not somehow arranged more poorly than someone else's. It is exactly what it needs to be for the work I am doing within you. The depth of your sensitivity, the compassion you carry, and the understanding being developed through this season are all being formed in ways that could not happen through a different path. Another person's easier journey could never produce the same work that is being accomplished in you right now. What is growing within you is worth the process that is shaping it. I am not creating a copy of someone else. I am forming you into the fullest expression of who you were created to be, the version of you that is most alive, most free, and most capable of offering the unique love and influence that only you can give, and that requires a process designed specifically for you. It will not look exactly like anyone else's journey, and it cannot be measured against someone else's timeline. Trust the path you are walking, and trust my wisdom in the way I have arranged it. Now I want to speak to you about hope, not the fragile kind that depends on everything working out exactly as planned, but the kind that remains steady even when everything appears to be falling apart. There is a kind of hope that is really just optimism. It expects good outcomes and feels strong when circumstances seem favorable. It can be pleasant and helpful for a time, but it remains vulnerable to whatever happens around it. When life is moving in the right direction, that kind of hope feels natural. When life becomes difficult, it often disappears. You know what that feels like. You have experienced the pain of placing hope in expectations only to watch it collapse when reality moved in a different direction. But the hope I am talking about is fundamentally different. It does not depend on circumstances, and it does not rise and fall with changing conditions. It is anchored in something deeper in who I am than what I have spoken, and in the fact that I have never abandoned anything I have begun. This kind of hope can exist alongside pain. It can remain present in grief, confusion, uncertainty, and seasons that make little sense from the outside. It says, "I do not know how this will end, but I know the hands holding it are loving hands. I cannot see what comes next, but I know who is already there. I do not fully understand the process, but I trust the one who created it. That is not passive faith. It is one of the bravest things a person can do. Holding on to hope when circumstances offer little encouragement requires a deep strength that does not come from positive thinking or determination alone. It comes from beyond yourself. It comes from my presence and from the faithfulness I have already shown throughout your life. If you have forgotten that faithfulness, take time to remember it. Look back at what you have already survived. Think about the seasons that felt final, the moments that seemed as though they would define your life in the hardest possible way. Then remember what happened afterward. Remember the times you were convinced you could not continue, and yet somehow you did. Think about the ways provision arrived that you never could have predicted. Think about the people, opportunities, and answers that appeared from unexpected places. Think about the fears that once consumed your thoughts and eventually lost their power. Think about the losses that felt impossible to survive and how, little by little, you discovered you could breathe again. None of that happened by accident. It is evidence of my faithfulness woven into the story of your life. It is real proof, drawn from your own experience, that I can be trusted with whatever stands before you today. You often approach the future as something that must be managed, controlled, predicted, and prepared for. Because there are so many unknowns, the future can begin to feel threatening rather than hopeful. You run through possibilities in your mind. You calculate risks. You prepare for every outcome you can imagine so that nothing catches you by surprise. Yet in doing so, you spend today carrying the weight of problems that may never arrive. I want you to remember something important. I am already in your future. That is not simply comforting language. It is part of who I am. I am not bound by time the way you are. I am already present in the places you have not yet reached, already working there, already aware of every detail waiting for you. There is no version of your future that catches me off guard. Nothing that happens will force me to change my plans for you. No challenge is greater than my ability to handle it, and no complexity causes me to lose sight of your story. So when fear pushes your thoughts into tomorrow, remember this: you are moving toward a place where I already am. You are not stepping into unknown territory alone. You are following me into a future I have already prepared. The God who will meet you there is the same God who carried you through everything behind you. The same faithfulness, the same love, the same unwavering commitment to your good. Move forward with confidence. Not the confidence of someone who has every answer, but the confidence of someone who knows the one who does. You do not need complete knowledge of every step ahead. What you need is confidence in the character of the one leading you. And you already know my character because you have experienced it. You have seen it remain steady when everything else seemed uncertain. There is a life ahead of you marked by a deeper peace than you currently understand. It is a steadiness that does not depend on perfect circumstances. It is a joy that can exist alongside uncertainty, imperfection, and the ordinary realities of daily life, because it is rooted in something far deeper. It is freedom from the constant undercurrent of anxiety that has quietly followed you for so long. That life is real, and it is being prepared even now. The work I am doing within you today is laying the foundation for it. Every time you choose peace instead of panic, every time you release control, every time you remain with me in uncertainty instead of running from it, and every time you say, I trust you, even when your emotions struggle to agree something important is being built. Each of those moments is strengthening the foundation that will support everything I am bringing into your life. So do not reject this season. Do not spend all your energy resisting it. There is something available to you right now that cannot be experienced in exactly the same way once this season has passed. Difficulty has created a closeness between us that comfort alone could not produce. Dependence has taught you things that self-sufficiency never could. There is a tenderness in this season that I want you to recognize and receive, not because I intend for you to remain here forever, but because I take care of what you learn here into everything that comes next. You are not waiting for your life to begin. Your life is already unfolding. This season is not an interruption before the real story starts. It is part of the story itself, and I am present in all of it, in every quiet morning, every difficult night, every moment of uncertainty, and every moment of trust. I am here. I am working. I am faithful. And you, exactly where you are, in this very season with all its unanswered questions and unresolved details, are deeply loved, completely loved, and permanently loved. Hold on to your peace, not as something you perform and not as something you force. Let it be the natural response of a heart that truly believes I am holding every part of this. Every fear you struggle to name, every outcome beyond your control, every silence that has unsettled you, and every future you cannot yet see is resting in my hands, and my hands do not let go. Declare I trust if you have faith. This message is made possible through viewer support. For exclusive member content and additional resources, please use the QR code or support link provided. God bless you.